So when we looked at who we were going to have speak today, we just had three people. We had Greg with Invoca, we had Joanne with Nielsen, and Ann sort of with HealthWise ended our users and creators of data. Now we're going to talk to two gentlemen that are creating and working with data platforms. The first one up is Kieran Kennedy from Snowflake. Come on up, Kieran. Come on. So Kieran has got over 30 years of experience. He started at FactSet and was actually a customer of Snowflake, correct? Back in the early days?
We were.
And I'm interested to know, after 30 years, what made you switch over to Snowflake? Because I'm one of those people too that I was at a company for a long time, and it takes a lot to sort of reinvent yourself and go to a new company. So Kieran, take it away and let these guys know all about Snowflake.
Yeah, it may have something to do with having 5 kids at home, 3 in college, so better find something to do. No, I think it was, the move that we made, or that I made, was really around, I spent my whole life, pretty much the last 30 years, providing data and analytics to the financial services community. And what you find over time is that what you're really trying to enable is, it's like the parallel to data and wine, I think a lot about, because I may drink too much of it, but it's really about, data does not get better sitting in a cold, dark room. And data is at risk for getting bad when you move it around. And what we found at FactSet and prompted the move to Snowflake was they were doing something really different. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So when you think about Snowflake, the platform, is what we're bringing together is different workloads on a single platform. And so when you think about data engineering, data lakes, data warehouse, and data science, and data applications, we put those all together in a low maintenance, easy to use service across all 3 major data clouds. So whether you want to store data in AWS US East in one location, or GCP, that's available to you. And underpinning all of this capability and all of this enablement is the data cloud. And I love this representation because it really talks about what we are enabling. So every one of these dots represents a Snowflake account. And then the constellations that you see is where we are enabling the connections and the data sharing between those organizations. Some of the largest ones represent COVID data or financial data. So when you think about enabling that access, that's the network in action. You've got roughly 6,000 clients on the Snowflake platform. It's growing between 400 and 500 clients per quarter. You want to tap into this ecosystem. And coming from where I came from, FactSet as a data creator, was solely focused on delivering data to other financial institutions. Well, then you find out that you've got really neat supply chain data that institutional investment management clients and capital markets groups are using. Well, guess what? That data is super valuable to manufacturing firms and retail companies. But how do you get it there? And how do you do it efficiently? And how do you do it without spinning up a whole sales force? Snowflake enables that opportunity for you. And when we talk about how to exchange data, and we talk about the ecosystem at a layer underneath it, it's really this seamless sharing, right? And it's once the provider makes the data available in a share to a customer, that consumer is able to immediately view it, they can query it, and you don't have to move. The data does not move. They're hitting your production data, right? So there's no longer that data wrangling, if you will. Again, if you think about, when I think about where I came from, the large focus of the client base was asset managers. And asset managers, what they did is they obviously had incredibly important internal data, portfolio data, right? All of their assets, all of the accounts. Well, they need to enrich that data with third-party data. That's how they determine how the portfolio is doing. So they bring that data in. Then the next step in it is they need to further enrich that data with portfolio analytics. Well, now they can do this all in that same ecosystem. And that's where the direct query access across all 3 data clouds, that's when the magic happens, right? So the last thing I'd like to talk about is how Infutura is enabling here and what we're activating. So in this particular case is that Snowflake has enabled their embedded identity resolution application or capability. And you know what we really try to think about is, and I heard it again and again, is meeting clients where they are. And when you think about Snowflake and you think about what we're enabling, it's not just data products, and it's not just it's the ability to build on top of Snowflake. And when we think about things from a marketplace perspective, our North Star is how do we help you grow your business? And we think about it in 3 tranches. And the first is data products and how you can make your data products available into the ecosystem. The next tranche of capability is around functions. So if you have content that you don't want people to have access to the raw underlying content, you can give access just to those insights. And that's what we call a user-defined function. So you allow people to query the information without giving access to the underlying data. And then the last piece is building on Snowflake. And that's where we have a couple of different capabilities where you can build applications on Snowflake, and whether the compute sits in your instance or in the client's instance, where the data sits is how you can enable that capability. So with that, thank you for the time, thank you for the opportunity, and look forward to talking to you all.
Thanks, Kieran.